Hi everyone, this is Veridia and I'm going to touch one more topic. Today, a rather conventional one, but with unconventional insights. So, this is something which I will bring up, and this is a culmination of certain discussions which I had, and not just one of the discussions, certain discussions which I had in terms of consultations as well as certain things which I have observed, discriminations, ruminations, and all that thing. Let's start talking about this thing, the tendency of people pleasing. Now, I'm going to put up a scenario in front of you guys, and this is somewhat closer. I'm not going to the exact scenario which I handled, and I'll demonstrate where this people pleasing tendency arises from and what are the effects. Remember, I'm not going to make this why you should not do, and I'm not going to get into mumbo jumbo. I'm going to just demonstrate the phenomena and its collateral effects, and they will be learning around this. So let's begin. A person, let's say anyone, this is a man, a heterosexual cisgender man who is trying to seek mate for others. Very common scenario. And his appearance is not very austeric, appealing, but it's, let's say, this appearance is somewhat on a median to 75th percentile of the scale. Now I see this looks very objectified, but let's say try to say for the purposes of visualization and purposes to imagine, because it is all linked, and this will come. So let's say this person has a certain facial structure, has a certain body silhouette and everything. So let's keep this character. Let's name him A. And now it looks, the problem is with these kind of namings is that it looks very superficial. So since I'm talking in terms of India, and I'll use this candidate name of Anuj. This is not reflecting to any personal Anuj or anybody. If this listener is Anuj, this is not reflecting to you. But let's say Anuj is a fairly decent guy, fairly decent income, fairly decent, decent-ish, fairly decent looks, fairly decent everything. He is now, let's say, at a certain age group, he's seeking a mate, and I, for the purposes of this discussion, I'm keeping the age up to above 20 or 25. So he's out of academia, 20 to 21. He's out of academia, and having said that, his academic life, his life has been somewhat that he has not been very overtly social or like the popular ones in the group. But he has also not been like an isolated buff who has been reading everything, maybe surpassing everything around technology. But that has also not happened. Although the insights from there is going to cover for everybody. But let's say this is the template man I'm presenting to you. He had social interactions with both men and women, and he, based on his thing, he has certain experiences, good and bad, which have shaped him in a situation where he wants to be more likable. Now at 22, he has a certain desire to be intimate, obviously. And let's not judge intimacy, and like when I take this topic, let's not get into that judgment mode. Intimacy is good, bad, we should have this. No, no. Let's say he wants to be intimate, a very fairly common thing. What happens is he sees that intimacy, or like now to even further more specification, Anuj is a cisgendered heterosexual man seeking woman, heterosexual straight woman. What he sees is that preferences and choices of women are very different from men. which is practical, which is something we have already seen. Men have like so. There's also one misconception that men only view at looks. It actually depends on who this person is, at what age it is, what environment he is in, what is his condition. That is a whole big vector schema of this thing. It's not just one man. Okay, all men are like no. Let's not cluster some things. Let's not do this. Let's leave the clustering to ML algorithms for now. Anuj notices that most women he's attracted because he will also have certain scenario. He is fairly seen people. He has fairly interacted with people. So he has a certain thing, certain outlooks, and he has a preference. And what he sees is that I want somebody who, let's say, I am at this stage in particular thing. This is I who want something this, at least this, because everybody wants to upgrade. Now he will see that this person is much more attracted, people who are lying here, because even though this is the people who are there from Anuja's expectations, they would also have different types of personality trait. So there's going to be a whole spectrum around this. He sees Shivani, who is uh, who is a pop model, who has people all around, very pleasing looks. Let's say if I have to define it very crudely, he sees Neha, who has a brilliant mind. She talks back very logically. He also sees Veronica, who is somewhat empathetic, caring, and all that. And based on his different priorities, he likes, these are the girls which are above me. In that matter, I'm just mentioning this because a lot of the reader, if a lot of the you listeners will also see, if you take a step back and listen to this entire narration, you will start seeing certain patterns over certain things over here. So all these women have certain, now these women also have expectations. Anuj wants to get one, I notice why I'm making this signal. Anuj wants to get this person. How can he get this person? No, this is a very crude language. Apologies to that. But when I say get, he means he wants to connect, be possibly intimate socially, not just as a friend or a study buddy or a colleague, but even as an intimate partner. His mind pops up, somehow if I can make this person like me, then I am successful over here. So what I'm saying is pretty obvious, pretty common. Okay, Mr. Saksham, what are you speaking about this? It is pretty obvious. It is how we have been operating around now. Now, he sees, now this person also has some brains. Okay, he sees that somewhere, if I talk very sweetly and if I talk very agreeably to this person's views, I might be liked more. Pretty obvious. So let's say this Neha lady, the logical one, she makes a comment that all men are dogs. This is not true, obviously. All men are not dogs. All women are also not dogs. This is a sentiment which has been spread. There are distortion, logical fallacies, and everything which is there around. So she says all men are dogs. But now this person sees, okay, this is whatever has been spoken is nonsense. Not all men behave the same way. Not all men do this, and there are certain things which, but He likes that person. He wants to be. So we say, ha, men are making that mistake and all. This will come up. So he will speak up this way. What propagates around that is that okay. Now listen from the perspective of Neha. She has her whole now Anuj, listening from perspective of Neha. First of all, it's not very easy to understand somebody else's perspective. We have no way of definitely knowing it. Even if let's say you are a very advanced the meditator, that's a let's say that hypothetical that those fantasies generally don't come true. There are laws around, like there are things which you cannot technically do, and certainly not in this case. So this person has an insight. She might so she but there's one thing which I have learned over years of observing and coaching women, that technically they will see through this attempt. Okay, already, because it communicates in terms of tonality, it communicates in terms that's a sudden okay, this is a brilliant insight I've just shared outsider. It actually communicates out of your vibe, out of your body. Now vibe is a very like misunderstood, it's a very abstract term which people would not understand. It is something that social perceptions or emotional perceptions people can perceive, especially women. This is some blessing which I've seen. Now I'm not generalizing women over here, but this is something which I have observed. It's very very strong. Women can see through thing, emotions, patterns, and everything, even if the person is not in direct interaction with them. They can see this person is very angry, even at 50-mile radius also. Now there are deeper insights into it. I'm not going to get into that right now, because even men can do that. Certain men can do that. Certain you can be trained to do these things. But let's say Neha understands that why this is happening. Now see from the perspective of Neha. Neha is uh, now it is going to sound very crude. The moment as the words are coming out of my mouth, she has been so how do I put it without okay, she has been like what do you say, she has seen the exact same movie repeat multiple times, not just with Anuj, not just with Vikram, not just with Faisal, not just with this thing. See, I'm using these names, they are not related to any person out around there. So if any Anuj, Vikram, Faisal, Neha, Veronica and these guys are listening to me, please don't think that it's like that's a so like I know the just adding a disclaimer doesn't solve this thing, but this is just an example. Essentially Neha has seen this movie around it, and she might have experienced something that this tendency has been used to make her do to make a just connection with her. So we all have this child who has been sometimes like taken care of, sometimes healed, and most of the time it has been abused. And this is how the nature of the world works actually. They have ways around it, but so she will see this as an attempt again. She has seen that movie, and obviously even if you have not seen this movie, things are coming up from your generations as well. Things are coming up with common sense, social intelligence. So what Anuj fails to understand is that not having your metal is breaking massively your own strength. Now remember, I'm talking this the insight which I'm going to give you is from the Anuj's profile. So if you remember, if you recap, Anuj had a desire, an intimation, an expectation. He saw something around this, and he selected this. He wanted to select this. There are few people who are around us, and he wants to connect and try to get connected and rapport, which massively fails. And this has happened again and again and again, and also creating around us, not just externally but even internally. Where did the story miss out? First of all, is this the correct behavior to do or not? I'm just trying to test my, or like I'm just trying to ask my audience for their feedback. Is this a correct way to approach this thing or not? You're intelligent. I'm assuming the listener over here is intelligence. Intelligent. He has some time to see through these things. Take a step back, take a deep breath, and just see through this thing. Anuj has a tendency. Anuj wants something, and around his metrics, he wants this. First of all, is wanting enough makes you deserving of this thing? Is wanting enough makes you deserve that thing? And first of all, expectation. First of all, if you are desiring something, I'm not going to get into that objectification. That's not the controversy is not the intent of this video. The intent of this video is insight. Anuj wants something to be fulfilled which is not in his control. Tell me one thing, is being a magnet 100% directly in your control? If yes, think again. If no, think again. It's not an easy thing. It's not like he snapshot one short answer and written given everything. Think. What is in his so this tendency of people pleasing is arising from an expectation of want. There are other reasons also where these things are written. There is a fear also. Sometimes there is neglect. With childhood, all those things exist. The question is, second thing, is Anuj thinking rightfully about his approach to deal with the attraction problem? The shake of your beards, shake of your mustache, maybe think in this manner a little bit. Even if you don't have a beard, you still have a brain. Sorry to be condescending, but yeah. Think about it. Where in this chain the problems went wrong? Anuj had an expectation. Anuj thought that this is the way to actually connect with us. Is the woman or any person in question just asking for validation? Even if that is true, how long does it last? Is it not true that the behavior and the words are very different at times? Now, I'm not talking about idealistic form that they should be the same. Ideally, they should be. Because if you don't have that strength, that metal of aligning into words, actions, and even as a woman also, that's a masculine trait. If you don't have that, feminine traits are very different, but let's not get there right now. But if you don't have, how did you if you don't have that trait, how do you expect to make even an impact? If you don't have that trait, are you a very useful person? Now, I'm not demeaning anybody who's so this like I mentioned, this is a journey. See why this Mr. Anuj is failing again and again and again, because he is first of all operating with the mindset to get. When you operate from that mindset ki I want to get that thing, largely it's just a tendency. It comes in your mind as an oversimplification of wants and undersimplification of your capabilities. Actually, okay, this is where I am trying to test my audience. It is not essentially oversimplification of wants. It is undersimplification. It is a distortion of wants and oversimplification of your person, of your existence. Because what you want today, let me add one more point. What you want today won't be the same thing that you want tomorrow. If you are earning 10 lakh rupees today, you will not, you will be wanting 20 lakh rupees tomorrow. Let's say you are earning 10 lakh rupees, you are wanting 20 lakh rupees today. Tomorrow, if you are earning 10 crore rupees, you will not be wanting 20 lakhs. Just giving a crude example. Or it may also happen that you are earning 10 lakh rupees today, wanting 20 lakh rupees tomorrow. You are, let's say tomorrow you are earning 10 crores and looking to save a lot of money within that or increase that, because you don't want to keep on working, because you may be suffering, like you may be wanting to move into a different stage of life. You might meet a partner who is earning, there are so many things which can, so what you want first of all today is not going to change. And again, that is just a side point. The main thing is the world designed to fulfill your expectation? Now again, I understand, obviously, let's be balanced in this perspective. We want somebody to it is a very practical human need, but is it very right to take it? Now there's another extreme to this, that I don't want to, I'm going to be a total ultimate, like that so there's another manifestation of things where you do not want to engage. You're an avoidant person. So okay, let's not add labels to it. We have been adding labels to our copies in the childhood. We have been adding labels to things, and so let's not add labels too much over here. There's another manifestation or extreme of the same thing. People is it I'll call it intentional avoidance or displeasing. Yeah, I don't want too many people around me. Now that is also because that underlying need is the same, na. That underlying, because that is also going to create one more trajectory where you are subtly trying to, subconsciously are trying to get the same thing, but you are creating blocks for yourself with that avoidance. One thing that helps if it is in moderation, because you are not actually hankering, so you are not emitting that, but that avoidance, that trauma, that energy, that emotion still comes up. It is at least so. In this whole scenario, Anuj had failed to recognize how his want is influencing him. That emotion is influencing him. So what do you do around this? First of all, the problem understood is half solved. Second, try to see a balanced perspective over here. We don't obviously want to be like rude or intentionally disconnecting, because you are just trying to flip the coin on the other side. What you see that, okay, this is me who is wanting to gain the person's approval at the cost of sacrificing my own internal thing. Because more you do that, there's a feedback loop that, okay, you are wrong over there. That creates a distortion within your mind. Instead of that, I would speak it out. I'll not add. So let's say, because what will happen if I speak something which this person doesn't like? That is the fear. Is it a very rational thing? let's say at this point, because do we have to actually behave in a way to in where the inputs are controlled by some like these external entities, or you want to control these external entities? Like, so this tendency of control, the tendency to attract and please is the tendency to control. Can Anuj give up a little bit on this tendency of control and maybe just take, okay, Neha, not all men are dogs. What happens if, or he can even say things like that. Okay, if all men are dogs, then how do you define the role of this person? If all men are dogs, let's say, then is being first of all, then he would say, are all men are dogs? Because men are men, humans. What? Because that sentiment is coming from a perspective of being hated, being abused, and the obvious response, even if not physically, but even if the person directly is not abused, maybe they are carrying the genetic memory. Yes, genes carry these things, and that is which is being carried. So there will be a contextual intelligence around it. Okay, you said men are dogs in this context, but what about that? And is this information entirely true? Let's say imagine Arnuj laying this in a very pragmatic way, also trying to understand the situation. Maybe no, sometimes like engaging this. Okay, he can say something, Neha, your insight is coming. So what you are saying is coming from a point where men have abused. This is something intellectual person like me would be saying like that. His words, first of all, do not create that problem, that distortion within you, because you just trying to not control and presenting a response creates avoids three problems branching out. In like if you have seen, if you make a imaginary branch out reality, you are pruning three different kind of bad realities for you. One, where your mind is actually saved. Okay, yes, this is my perspective, this is the truth. Maybe you will get an input which is going to invalidate that, and that in that case you should learn also. But this but when your beard scratches, you see, okay, that is when your beard will scratch, you'll think again. But again, you spoke out one thing, you spoke out this thing which is truth to you. Obviously you don't need to blurt out, there's a way to speak truth, that's teacher. But what happened, it solved your internal thing, your internal dilemma. It changed your what you communicated came out straight with the intention. Now the intention is also very important behind that, but it actually reflected what you wanted. It might not please Neha, it might not be even attempted to do anything. It is not attempted to do anything to Neha, it is just going to say okay. Now it also creates a different impact, because okay, so many guys have tried to like influence me, but this is slightly different. This may not happen with Neha, I know that, but over the time, this these small things like these small, they accumulate. So only money doesn't compound. And yes, compounding the problem is, like, we think compounding very passive effort. It's not. You need to keep on doing stuff. After that it will yeah, this changes, and at after a point your metal becomes strong. Remember, trying to please and trying to be averse our same tendencies. Essentially, it's not a bad thing. Also, people pleasing. Like I'll add more videos to this perspective. But I would like to listen from you guys. What do you think about this topic? Please add your comments that okay, maybe this is the point I didn't. Maybe there's a different perspective that you guys bring. Maybe there's something which I would you want me to cover another side of the story or any other concept. Just write down that in your comments box. Also, please like this video if you like it. Please try to share this with others because I'm trying to bring these content. If you want, if you have any comments or feedback for me, you can reach out to me. Now, this is a result of my direct consultations and culminations. If you want, but this is which I'm operating in public domain. If you want to get connected with me to the community where I share insights only specific to my community, because then I don't share everything publicly. If you want to get connected to them, please you'll find that link in the description box. If you want any personal consultation, personal advice, you can reach out to me. That information you'll also find in the description box. There's one parting thing which I wanted to add. Try to see people pleasing, the tendency of it, in its distinctive form. Try to see this as a phenomena. Don't try to see this as good or bad. Because this tendency to label things good, bad, there are actions, there are consequences. Don't try to see this thing essentially good or bad. This I hope it helps